This is a new bourbon barrel-aged ale treated with blueberries, huckleberries, and Tahitian vanilla beans. This beer is really interesting. You definitely get that huckleberry and that blueberry character. The vanilla, as always, helps round out the flavor and adds a little bit of perceived sweetness. And then, of course, the barrel-aged beer component creates an excellent base for all of those flavors. What we're going for here is a really doughy pastry-style beer with fruit. The berry component, of course, and I think the real question here is: do pies have to be square? At what point does a pie constitute being called a cobbler, even a crisp, rather? These are the equations that we're trying to solve here at the brewery.
I don't know. I don't think the shape of a pie makes a pie or breaks a pie. For that matter, does a cobbler have to be square? I mean, you could put a cobbler in a pie pan, couldn't you? Would that make it a pie? I don't know. I mean, to me, no. I think desserts and pies should come in all shapes and sizes. I'm a pie guy, just to be clear. I'm a fruit pie guy. That's kind of my thing. I do prefer a cobbler to a pie, and I'll tell you why. Pie very rarely scoops out perfectly the way you want it to. And I have a problem with that, because if I end up turning my pie into a cobbler on my plate anyway, then why wouldn't I just start with the cobbler and do some scooping? Now, some would say that just because you scoop your pie out and it's a mess on your plate, that it doesn't automatically turn it into a cobbler. But I would beg to differ, that if the pie crust and the cobbler crust is the same, then why would it matter how the crust is for one thing to be a pie or one thing to be a cobbler? I'm actually happy to sit here and talk about these things, because I feel like, throughout the brewery's history, and especially in my time here, this has been kind of like a behind the scenes argument for quite a while, where I think we just have a lot of very passionate people here that do not agree on pastry science, if you will.
Yeah, I'm not sure what kind of cobblers Jeremy's eating. He says he's a pie guy, but he's also a cobbler guy, and yet when they're on the plate, they're the same. A pie, you're generally going to start with a pastry type crust, and then you're going to put your filling in top, sweet or savory, doesn't matter. Maybe you put a top crust on as well. Entirely up to you. But cobbler, really, you're just starting with the fruit mainly. That's the star. You're loading it up with fruit. You're cooking that, and then you're gonna put in. There's no crust. There's really not a crust. You put the biscuit type dough on the top, and it'll bake into it, and the whole thing cobbles together. That's a cobbler. I'm really not sure Jeremy knows his pies.
The crust, the cobble, the crisp, it's barely even invited to the party. The star of the party is the fruit. We all know that. In this case, when we're talking about this beer, it's berries, and berries are the star. So I'm actually a bit offended by Connor taking umbrage that he thinks I don't know my pies. I do know my pies. The problem is, this is a big country, and there's a lot of pie types around, like, for instance, who am I to say that a hand pie isn't a pie that you eat in your hand? I don't know. I think, well, I'll say it. I don't think it is a pie.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a hand pie could be. I mean, it's a type of pie. I will agree with Jeremy. You're not going to find a hand cobbler because, again, there's no crust. The fruit is the star. We agree on that. So, yeah, I mean, I don't personally prefer hand pies. I'd rather have a real pie. But I think it would still technically be a pie. So a chess pie, they're actually very popular pies for back to the Civil War. I mean, they've been around since the 1800s.
The chess pie? He made that up. I don't believe it.
First off, I don't know why you're asking me what I think. 2 reasons. I'm vegan, and I'm a pumpkin pie guy. So I don't really know if I have a dog in this fight.